Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we're going to review Lovesick VR, a MetaQuest exclusive, released March 6, 2025 by developer Rose City Games. It normally retails for $14.99 and actually won a contest on Reddit to get this game. Lovesick is a rock and roll puzzle adventure game. It is narrative driven and in many ways it is an ode to the classic point and click adventure games, but translated for VR. I have mixed feelings about this game. I really enjoyed the story, the characters. This is a very well written indie band rock and roll experience. The characters have depth to them with real conflict, and the musical soundtrack is absolutely amazing, especially the title song Lovesick. And I genuinely enjoyed most of the puzzles here. Some of the puzzles are easy, some are more challenging, and for the most part you can get hints if you get stuck along the way. And there is a nice variety to the puzzles as well. And in this alternate reality that you enter, you'll gain superpowers to help you in overcoming these obstacles along the way. And from these video clips that I'm showing you from the game, you'll see that there are certain negatives too as well from this game that keep it from being an overall positive experience. And I would love to give this game a glowing positive recommendation, but given all the difficulties I faced while playing this game, I simply cannot do that. I do think this game needed more development time so that it could be a more smooth and polished experience overall. So let's talk about Lovesick, the good, the bad, and the ugly. First of all, Lovesick is running on the Unity engine, and on the MetaQuest 3 I had no issues as far as performance, and I only faced what I consider to be one major issue, although I did face a lot of jank. The major issue was on one of the puzzles, which requires you to open doors in a certain order. My issue was that the first door would open automatically, and this would ruin the puzzle numbered sequence that you're supposed to follow. The first door that's supposed to open is actually door number 2, not door number 1, but the problem is that when door number 1 opens by itself automatically and then you choose door number 2, the numbered sequence keeps going instead of failing you. And it took me a while to realize that door number 1 was not supposed to open automatically, and it took me a while to figure this out and to finagle the phone handle so that door number 1 stays closed until I choose it. And for this reason, I think it took me about 4 hours to complete the game, but I think normally the game should take you about 3 hours to complete. And like I said, this was the only major issue I faced, although there were a ton of minor issues, just little annoyances that kept the game from feeling great to play. And I can't name all the small issues because it would make this video way too long, but one of the more frustrating ones was playing the bass guitar. This game has a game sequence that has you play 3 notes on your bass guitar, and the problem is that the placement of the bass guitar seems to phase in and out of your body, and that's even if you go to the settings and try to manually place the bass guitar, it doesn't help. So when you try to pick the bass guitar and play the notes, it's just very inconsistent. Sometimes it'll play and other times it will just not register at all, so it'll lead to missed notes and frustration on your part. There's also a superpower that lets you grab objects at a distance, but this mechanic is also very inconsistent. And as you'll see in this video, there's a part where I'm supposed to grab the security cameras and break them, but I have a terrible time trying to take them down just because this grab mechanic is very finicky, and it takes me multiple attempts and a lot of frustration to finish this portion. And unfortunately, a lot of puzzles do require you to use these interactions, and they just aren't fun to play for this reason. Performing with your band and playing the bass should be a fun part of this game, but the bass game mechanic is so broken and so frustrating to play that it zaps the fun out of these game sequences. You're also limited to only nodal teleportation and snap turning in this game. Now, I can accept the nodal teleportation for this game given that it's a puzzle adventure game, and it helps as far as limiting the places you can go, therefore making the puzzles a little bit easier to solve. But I do hope developers know when they make this decision about their game that they're limiting the amount of possible gamers who will be interested in their game. Now, smooth locomotion ruins immersion for a lot of VR gamers, and there absolutely is no defense to no smooth turning. There's no reason why this game shouldn't have smooth turning. It's a necessary comfort option for a lot of gamers. Now, you can adjust height in this game so you can play comfortably seated, but I will recommend playing standing for the bass section since that'll make it easier. As mentioned earlier, I did enjoy the puzzles, but I will caution that the hints do not always help you. In fact, a lot of the times I was getting hints for puzzles I had already solved, so beware of that. There's 1 or 2 tricky puzzles that'll involve changing something in one area for a puzzle in a different area. But definitely the strongest part of this game is the narrative and the musical soundtrack. I loved all the music in this game, but especially the title track, Lovesick. It's really good, and unfortunately you don't get to listen to the whole thing until the very end of the game. In fact, I think this song is so good that it could possibly be a hit on the radio. It reminds me of the early aughts indie rock music in all the best possible ways. And this is a moving, very realistic story of a band facing adversity. And I definitely didn't see the ending coming, but when you listen really closely to the story, you see that that's the only place it could have gone. Again, these 4 band members all have realistic personalities, very real desires and dreams, but they also have to face some real truths as well. So like I said, I have mixed feelings about this game. I think I really loved it, but I also know I was frustrated most of the time playing this game. So at the end of the day, I do have to score this game, and if I have to rate it, I think I would have to give it a 6 out of 10. There's just a lot to love here. This game has a great story, it has a great musical soundtrack. If it was just those things, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. But unfortunately, a lot of the game is very clunky to play. It needed a lot more time in the oven to make it a smooth and polished experience. So if you're okay with all the negatives I mentioned to this game, I definitely recommend this game to you. Otherwise, I say it's probably better to wait to see if maybe there's a future update that fixes all these issues. I almost think these developers would be better just throwing this game in the trash and keep the story, keep the music, and just make a better game starting from scratch, but I don't think that'll happen. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. This has been my review for Lovesick VR. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Pick up the pace. What, you didn't get super speed along with those powers?
Did you get any, abilities?
Nope. Ghost rules for me, man. I can move through walls, but I can't touch anything.
Oh, shit.
Now do you get how screwed I was before you showed up?
I can't... Thought you said you couldn't do anything.
I'm not doing anything. Am I?